everyone, and a very good morning. You're watching Buy Now, Sell Now on ET Now. I'm Ubina Kapasi. This is the show where we get your stock-specific questions and queries answered, and of course, get you your daily dose of trading recommendations as well as fundamental long-term wealth creation ideas. Let's tell you then on what the markets are up to first before we, kickstart all the things we have lined up for you on today's episode of Buy Now, Sell Now. And the brand new week has yet again started off in the red as we have slipped below the 15,000 mark as well. 14,905 for the Nifty 50 as we see losses of 0.5%, and the Sensex is losing 330 points. The only saving grace at this juncture is metals with the rally of LME Copper, LME nickel prices that continues to show that the metal space is in a steady upcycle. So today's top Nifty gainers: Hindalco 5%, JSW Steel 3.25%, Tata Steel gains of 2.5%. So metals, to a certain extent, oil and gas as well, with the contribution of ONGC of 2.6%, that is taking this pack a little higher in trade today. On the losing side, though, we do have ITC Limited that's down about 3.8%. Coal India not exactly participating in the metal rally, but it's any which way has been a bit of an underlier. LNT down 2.7%, M&M down 2.3%, HDFC Life as well among the big losers today in trade. So FMCG, auto, the consumption-facing names are not exactly, are more or less, you could say, pulling the market a little lower in trade. Even auto, in fact, does have quite a big weightage on the benchmark, and that's taking it down in trade. From the broader markets, Hind Copper 15% higher on the back of that copper, move seen. Jagran Prakashan, AB Capital, IIFL Finance, Suven Life Sciences, all gaining between 9 and 12% in trade. Meantime, the PSB pack, which was buzzing all of last week, New India Assurance, Central Bank, IOB, Bank of Maharashtra today are top losers. Well, let's move on and focus in on aviation. One of the potential new owners of Jet Airways, Murari Lal Jalan, wants to resume operating the airline by July of this year itself. This, of course, is contingent to the approvals for its resolution plan. Utkarsh Chaturvedi caught up with the Gulf-based businessman on his plans for the airline.
Yes, I am also very eager to start as soon as possible, but we are waiting, as you know, we are waiting for the NCLT to clear our proposal. So as soon as we get the clearance from the NCLT, after that 4 to 6 months, we will be able to be airborne.
I wanted to understand, when it comes to your proposal which you had given, in what form, what markets, how will Jet Airways come back? In what form will Jet Airways be back when it comes back?
We would like to continue on the same legacy what Jet Airways used to be, and in fact we would like to bring with the youth flavor, with a lot of internet and other things in the on the air. Apart from the old legacy, we will definitely continue with the premium airlines and what it used to be.
So Jet Airways will be a low-cost carrier or a premium carrier? As you are saying, are you clarifying that it will be a premium carrier as it was, a full-service carrier?
Yes, absolutely.
Speaking about the plans, and how many aircrafts are we planning to start with? Which of the aircrafts are we planning to start with? And by when can we see the number increasing?
In the beginning stage, we are trying to bring 25 aircraft, narrow body and the wide bodied both. Maybe the 18 or 20 is the narrow body and 5 to 7 is the wide body. We are already in the discussion with the manufacturers. So as soon as our NCLT will clear our plan, we will start finalizing the agreements.
You at this point of time have almost 6 to 7 777s, which are, we can see at the Mumbai airport still being there. What are you planning to do with them? Are you planning to sell them off or use them, refurbish them? What's the plan with them?
No, we would like to do it after, once the NCLT will clear, we will inspect, because we are not able to confirm that what is the situation of the existing aircraft. We can fly immediately or not. But at the moment, we are planning with the new aircraft to start with. if this existing aircraft can be used, we definitely would like to use it, but in the later stage.
Talking about domestic and international, given the fact that you're saying that you'll be getting wide bodies, obviously you have international aspirations right from the start. By when can we see, Jet Airways when it starts to go international, and which are the markets we are looking at?
We would like definitely to start international as soon as possible, but you can understand there is a lot of formalities we have to do and a lot of work is to be done to start the international. So our target is to start as soon as possible. Definitely within this year, we would like to go international.
In the domestic markets, which are the markets we are looking at? Are we looking to go a tier 2, tier 3 approach, or we're going to stick in the initial days when it comes to the 20 aircraft you're speaking about, of the narrow body to the the metro markets, the major markets?
No, we definitely wanted to go to the tier 2 and tier 3 city. There is no discussions on this.
Let's speak about funding, sir. The amount of money you will be putting in, will that be enough to take that forward? I'm sure you must be needing more money. What are your fundraising plans?
So you see, we have given our plan to the COC. COC have approved our plan, and they are very comfortable and happy with the plan we have given, and that's why they have approved our plan. And I'm sure you know that there is more than 99% of the COC have voted in our favor. So as far as funding is concerned, we are not concerned for the first stage or for maybe a year or two, and everything is planned it properly, and we are going with the plan.
I think once the NCLT approval comes, obviously one is the amount of money you'll be putting in, but is there an agreement we are looking to reach with the COC in the plan that the banks can lend us back some money to really start operations again?
No, it is not required. Whatever commitment we have given as per our resolution plan, we have already fulfilled what was required until now. And whatever is required to start the airlines is already, the fund is ready. And for the COC or whatever is required is ready. We are not looking anything immediately, but as the business grows, a lot of cash flow we are expecting to come. Also, whenever is required to go to the market, we can go. Nothing is ruled out.
Speaking about the slots, sir, you have a lot of international slots and domestic slots as well at at major airports. Speaking about Bombay, Delhi, all of them. What has been the conversation with the government? Have we had the chance to speak to the government and write to them when it comes to giving us back the slots which were temporarily, at least till this point of time, being given to other airlines?
We are not concerned about the slot. We have already discussed, and I am sure you know about that due to the COVID and during the time of the COVID, the government of India have increased a lot of slots and even a lot of infrastructure development with the vision of the Prime Minister. A lot of infrastructure, especially on the civil aviation, have been done. So we are not concerned about the slot. We have already discussed preliminary, and we are sure we will get the slot whatever we need.
Have we yet applied for what we need, or we are still waiting for the NCLT approval to come, sir?
No, we cannot apply now until the NCLT will not clear. We are waiting for the NCLT to clear, and then we will do whatever is required to do.
The management, team, so there were a lot of rumors that we have gone ahead and we have approached some of the industry leaders as well in the current market, whether it be Aditya Ghosh, Sanjay Kumar. What is the update with the new management team? Because obviously you need somebody who has done this business in the Indian markets for a long time to make sure that we reach the skies in a profitable manner.
Definitely the professionals is required to run any business, and for this business also we are looking for the professionals who are experienced to run the airline. And
All right, let's get you some updates with respect to Amazon versus future retail as well. Abhimanyu joins us. He's picking up the latest as far as the Supreme Court's notice to future retail is concerned. Abhimanyu, fill us in.
Well, the Supreme Court has issued a notice to Future Retail and has asked for a reply to be filed within 3 weeks. Amazon will have to file a counter reply after 2 more weeks, and the case is tentatively going to be listed in the last week of March. The top court initially was indicating that they intend to stay the NCLT proceedings, but Future Retail argued that in any case, the meeting for amalgamation will take at least 6 weeks to take place and urged the court not to stay, after which the court allowed the NCLT proceedings to continue. However, NCLT has been asked not to finalize the amalgamation or to pass any final orders till the approval of the top court. So clearly, the fate of the of the Future Retail Reliance Group deal hangs in balance, as the top court is seized of the matter and the deal is not going to go through. It's not going to finalize till a final approval is granted by the top court. Also, Amazon's appeal against the single judge bench order of the Delhi High Court will be heard today afternoon before the Delhi High Court, on which the top court made it clear that the court is not going to comment any further on the merits of the case, and rather is going to wait for the replies which will be filed by Amazon and Future Retail.
All right, Abhimanyu, many thanks for joining us with that update. Let's quickly pull up the buy now, sell now stock cloud as well to give you a list of all the stocks to keep on your radar. We'll start with consumption stock, that's Jubilant Food Works. It also hit a fresh 52-week high after the latest acquisition. They've entered into a purchase agreement to fully acquire Fights Food System. You also have Narayana Hrudayalaya, that's buzzing in trade. They are looking to invest $100 million more in Cayman Islands to expand their operations there. Meanwhile, you also had Mahindra CIE delivering its report card for the quarter gone by. Hindustan Copper, as flagged off earlier on the show, is surging, and how on the back of that up move seen in copper prices. Dr. Reddy is coming closer to the approval for Sputnik 5, and that's the reason the stock is very much in the limelight. You also have the likes of L&T, which is in focus on the back of that latest update coming in from UBS. Vedanta, once again, back in the news this morning. We had a D Street cover as well, wherein we told our viewers that Vedanta Promoter Group is looking to buy additional 5% stake. You also have ESAB India, a stock that we don't refer or talk about very often on back of some bulk deal action. SBI Mutual Funds has actually entered the counter and they've bought about 3.4 lakh shares there. Sheela Foam on the back of factory closure order that they've received from the Pollution Control Board. And finally, Jagran Prakashan surging ahead in trade on back of news or of a board meet on the 2nd of March to raise funds, actually for a buyback. So yeah, these are the stocks to keep on your radar this morning, buzzing away in trade and are very much in the limelight on back of news developments.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, we'll do one thing. We'll talk more about stocks in news. We'll also be bringing on board our experts today to answer your questions and queries. But before that, we'll take a very short break. Don't go anywhere.
ये भी हमारा एक नया इनिशिएटिव है। ये प्राइवेट सेक्टर से आग्रह करूंगा कि मैन्युफैक्चरिंग के साथ साथ डिजाइन और डेवलपमेंट में भी आप आगे आएं। भारत का विश्व भर में परचम लहराएं, मौका है, जाने मत दीजिए। इंडिजीनियस डिजाइन और डेवलपमेंट के क्षेत्र में डीआरडीओ का अनुभव भी देश के प्राइवेट सेक्टर को लेना चाहिए। इसमें नियम कायदे आड़े न आए, इसके लिए डीआरडीओ में बहुत तेजी से रिफॉर्म भी किए जा रहे हैं। अब प्रोजेक्ट्स की शुरुआत में ही प्राइवेट सेक्टर को शामिल कर लिया जाएगा। साथियों, दुनिया के अनेक छोटे छोटे देश पहले कभी अपनी सुरक्षा के लिए इतनी चिंता नहीं करते थे, लेकिन बदलते हुए वैश्विक माहौल ने, नई चुनौतियां सामने आने के कारण अब ऐसे छोटे छोटे देशों को भी अपनी सुरक्षा के लिए चिंता करनी पड़ रही है। सुरक्षा उनके लिए भी एक बहुत बड़ा महत्वपूर्ण विषय बनता जा रहा है। ये बहुत स्वाभाविक है। ऐसे छोटे और गरीब देश अपनी सुरक्षा जरूरतों के लिए स्वाभाविक रूप से भारत की तरफ देखेंगे, क्योंकि हम लो कॉस्ट मैन्युफैक्चरिंग की ताकत रखते हैं, हम क्वालिटी प्रोडक्ट की ताकत रखते हैं। सिर्फ आगे बढ़ने की जरूरत है। इन देशों की सहायता करने में भी भारत की बड़ी भूमिका है। भारत के विकसित होते डिफेंस सेक्टर की बहुत बड़ी भूमिका भी है, बहुत बड़े अवसर भी है। आज हम 40 से ज्यादा देशों को डिफेंस का सामान निर्यात कर रहे हैं। इंपोर्ट पर निर्भर देश की पहचान से बाहर निकलकर हमें दुनिया के अग्रणी डिफेंस एक्सपोर्टर के रूप में अपनी पहचान बनानी है और आपको साथ लेकर के इस पहचान को मजबूत करना है। हमें यह भी ध्यान रखना है कि एक हेल्दी डिफेंस मैन्युफैक्चरिंग इकोसिस्टम के लिए बड़े उद्योगों के साथ ही छोटी और मध्यम मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट्स भी बहुत जरूरी है। उसका पूरा जाल बिछाना पड़ता है। हमारे स्टार्टअप्स बदलते समय के साथ तेजी से बदलाव करने के लिए जरूरी इनोवेशन हमें दे रहे हैं। हमारी रक्षा तैयारियों में हमें आगे रख रहे हैं। एमएसएमईज तो पूरे मैन्युफैक्चरिंग सेक्टर के लिए रीढ़ का काम करती है। आज जो रिफॉर्म्स हो रहे हैं उससे एमएसएमईज को ज्यादा आजादी मिल रही है, उनको एक्सपांड करने के लिए प्रोत्साहन मिल रहा है। ये एमएसएमईज मीडियम हो या बड़ी मैन्युफैक्चरिंग यूनिट हो, हर कोई एक दूसरे को मदद करते हैं, जो पूरे इकोसिस्टम में फायर पावर ऐड करते हैं। ये नई सोच और नई अप्रोच हमारे देश के नौजवानों के लिए भी बहुत अहम है। आईडेक्स जैसे प्लेटफॉर्म हमारी स्टार्टअप कंपनीज और युवा एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को इस दिशा में प्रोत्साहित कर रही हैं। देश में आज जो डिफेंस कॉरिडोर बनाए जा रहे हैं वो भी स्थानीय उद्यमियों, लोकल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग को मदद करेंगे। यानी आज हमारे डिफेंस सेक्टर में आत्मनिर्भरता को हमें जवान भी और नौजवान भी, इन दोनों मोर्चों के सशक्तिकरण के रूप में देखना होगा। साथियों, एक समय था जब देश की सुरक्षा जल, थल और नभ की सुरक्षा से ही संबंधित थी। अब सुरक्षा का दायरा जीवन के हर क्षेत्र से जुड़ गया है और इसकी बहुत बड़ी वजह आतंकवाद जैसे हथकंडे हैं। इसी तरह साइबर अटैक एक ऐसा नया मोर्चा खुल गया है जिसने सुरक्षा का पूरा आयाम ही बदल दिया है। एक जमाना था जब सुरक्षा के लिए बड़े बड़े हथियार मंगाने होते थे। अब एक छोटे से कमरे में छोटे से कंप्यूटर से भी देश की सुरक्षा का एक पहलू संभालना पड़े, ऐसी स्थिति बन चुकी है। और इसलिए हमें परंपरागत डिफेंस आइटम के साथ ही 21वीं सदी की टेक्नोलॉजी और उस टेक्नोलॉजी ड्रिवेन आवश्यकताओं को देखते हुए ही हमें एक फ्यूचरिस्टिक विजन के साथ काम करना होगा और इन्वेस्टमेंट अभी करना होगा।
Okay, that's PM Modi speaking at the webinar for effective implementation of union budget provisions in the defense sector. He also speaks about MSMEs, among many other things. Well, let's welcome on the show now Kunal Bothra, our technical analyst, and Rajesh Agarwal, the head of research with AUM Capital, to talk to us about fundamentals. Good morning to both of you. Kunal, let's go across to you first. The market continues to decline, extending the losses from last week. Tell us, in light of all of that and what we are seeing, what you are expected to see, what are your your high risk and low risk ideas today?
So good morning, Mubina. Yes, more or less in line with the thought process which I had for Friday as well as today morning, that the 15,000 mark and the 36,000 mark on the Nifty and the Bank Nifty respectively are acting as major hurdle points, because that's where there is a huge amount of concentration of option writers on both of these key indices. So I think that those strikes and those levels could remain as short-term hurdles for the indices. However, I think the action is being very, very stock specific, and especially towards the mid-cap names. So in terms of stocks, I'll suggest a couple of buy names. The first one which I'm suggesting is Balakrishna Industries. Now the stock has already corrected more than 300 rupees approximately from its previous 2-month back swing highs. It's now come back to a strong support zone. And I think what's actually been happening for many of the stocks is the ones which have been beaten down earlier are the ones which are seeing a bout of recovery, and the stronger ones are the ones which are going through a corrective phase. So I think Balakrishna Industries could resume its upward trajectory from current levels as well, expecting a near-term bounce towards 1650 levels for the stock, and that's the target range. Stop loss to be kept at 1510. The second one which I'm suggesting is more of a mid-cap, a high beta stock. It's about Snowman Logistics. That stock forming a bullish flag pattern on the short-term time frame charts. Again, one of the few names which has corrected more than 30%, 35% in the previous 2-3 months. So I think the formation of this bullish flag pattern could probably result into a strong breakout for upside in the very, very near term. So more of a, I would say, a high risk, a contra play for Snowman as well from current levels, expecting a target of approximately 64, and stop loss could be kept at 46.
Okay, Rajesh, what are your ideas for the day? I believe you have 2 medium risk bets. So if you could talk about the fundamentals of those stocks.
See, Rubinam, there are a hell lot of companies out of Nifty which are doing very well. I think mid-cap stocks are going to do well in the medium term, despite the fact that we might see some sort of consolidation in the indices. So hence we recommend these 2 stocks. The first one would be Motherson Sumi System with a target of 250 odd rupees in the next 1 or 2 quarters. This company has top clients and has client lists like Audi, Volkswagen, Daimler as their clients. Q3 numbers were very strong with consolidated PAT jumping by around 4 times. Revenue was up by 14%, margins improved. And the best part is that they have a strong order book, out of which 21% of that order book consists of the EV side, that's the upcoming side, the electric vehicles. And the management has shown confidence that they are going to reduce debt as and when they are having some money. So all things point out to a positive future. In the near future, we believe 250 would be a reasonable target. And the second one would be Aditya Birla Capital with a target of 120 first, and the next target would be 150. These are 2 targets of medium term and a longer term. For the past 4-6 quarters has been very bad for the company due to some big ticket loans going bad, asset quality stress. But in the recent times, we have seen Q3 numbers being very good. Bottom line went up by around 15%. Margins went up. We have seen healthy performance from not only from housing finance but also AMC business. Even the LI has done very well. Distribution is doing well. Most businesses are doing well. They have a good AMC, good insurance business, good stock broking. It's the entire gamut of NBFC product. And with the kind of valuation we are seeing in the peer group companies, we think some of part valuations are very high. But for a medium term, we give a target of 120 and 150.
Well, let's take on board the questions and queries that we have received from our viewers. Our first question is from Harsh Saraswat. He says, I've invested 1 lakh rupees each in 3 small cap IT companies. Route Mobile, Intellect Design and Ramco Systems. This he did 6 months ago, and I'm sure he's certainly sitting on some very strong profits, and that's the reason why he's asking this question. Is it time to book profits? Because his opinion is that these high PE stocks will be the first casualties of correction. And well, he's got a fair point really. Kunal, what do you think? I mean, after putting in 1 lakh rupees, and some of these stocks have given great returns as well for Harsh, do you think now is the time to book profits?
I think absolutely. So congratulations first to the viewer on buying these stocks at I would say an apt time, and then also trying to look at your portfolio and the theme behind the investments. So I think these are good times where traders could look at booking out their short-term profits into many of these names. I think Route Mobile and Intellect Design and Ramco Systems, I think these stocks and many of these other mid-cap IT stocks have done phenomenally well in last 8-9 months. So whenever the markets goes into a risk-off mode, it's bound or there's a high probability that many of these high beta pockets and small cap, mid-cap names, they're the ones which are on the selling pressure, at the front of selling pressure. So I think in that aspect, it's a good strategy to try and book out profits over here and then wait for those strategic levels yet again. So if these stocks come back to either your initial cost price, or if the stocks come back towards some critical moving averages like 200-day moving average, for example, then it becomes a good opportunity to try and buy them again when the markets are or the stocks get back into oversold territory. So I would agree with the viewer that it's a good time to book out profits over here and then wait for significant amount of corrections and dips to buy it back again.
All right, Rajesh, do you concur with Kunal's opinion?
See, I second the thoughts of Kunal that after such kind of run-up in mid-cap IT especially, there might be some consolidation, and if some correction happens, some meaningful correction happens, these would be the first casualties. Although we are very bullish on one of those companies, that Intellect Design, that's doing very well, but still I would say good profits at these levels, and one can re-enter at lower levels in mid-cap IT stocks. But for the time being, what I would say, switch to large cap names like Nifty, TCS, HCL Tech, where we have seen numbers being good, the order book being good. Even sometimes like HCL Tech management has come on media and said in the next 3-4 quarters they expect the business to grow by 2 times, 3 times. So that's a very positive statement, I would say, and one should switch to large cap stocks to be on a comfortable zone. So if the correction, even if that happens, you are at least safe for a long term.
Okay, all right. Moving on then to our next email query. This is from Saida Rao. She bought Nippon Life shares at 350 rupees and wants to understand how the prospects are looking over the next 3 months. Kunal, the stock has seen a good up move since December onwards, but yes, there is some amount of resistance if you look at the chart pattern. Right now, she's losing about 18 bucks a piece. What would be your advice for the next 3 months?
So yeah, it seems to be finding some resistance at this 350 mark. 352, I think, if I'm not wrong, is this month high as well for Nippon Life. But the chart patterns overall are quite intriguing, interesting. I think the last 6-7 months, the stock has seen a gradual recovery. It's formed, I would say, a classic cup and handle kind of a pattern. Some swing breakouts on the weekly and the monthly charts. So the chart patterns are quite positive. The only catch and confirmation required is the amount of patience which is required once the stock breaks past about certain distances. So the recent history and I would say the longer term history for the stock also suggests that when it tends to give a breakout, it tends to spend a lot of time at those breakout ranges for at least a couple of months, if not more, and then gradually moves up higher and increases the speed. So I think in that aspect, it seems to be that the stock is just consolidating at this breakout point. 320, 335 is the biggest, is the bigger breakout range for Nippon Life. So I would suggest to hold on to the stock. And in fact, if the stock comes back to say approximately 320 level, would even suggest to average and try and bring your cost price lower, so that gives you more comfort. Once the stock starts to perform and move up on the higher side. So I would suggest to hold on the stock, and would suggest for an average approximately near the 320 mark.
All right. Okay, Rajesh, now, Saida has specifically asked for a 3-month horizon, but do you think, Nippon Life is something that could be looked at perhaps beyond that time horizon? What do you recommend Saida do?
See, I would say 3 months time horizon at this point of juncture would be a very risky bet on a mid-cap stock like NAM India, but for the longer term horizon, we are very bullish on this stock. When you compare this to other listed peers of the AMC pack, I think it's highly undervalued. The business has been doing good in recent times. Equity markets are on uptake. Numbers were better than expectation. We have seen bottom line jumping by around 42%. AUM is around 3,52,000 crores, and the share of equity assets in that AUM is 39%, which is highly positive. I think everything goes well with the company. You just need to extend your time horizon for maybe 2 quarters, and you can get meaningful upside. For the medium term, we have a target of 350 in the short term and 400 in the longer term.
Yeah. All right. Okay, well, there you have it. Your questions and queries answered. For now, we'll do one thing. We'll take a very short break. Ladies, Harsh and, Kunal and Rajesh, stay on with us. We'll be back after this short break.
You're still watching Buy Now, Sell Now. Kunal and Rajesh both are still with us. So let's address some more viewer queries while we have time. We have another query from the same viewer, Saida Rao. She's bought Westlife shares at 480 rupees and wants to know how is it likely to play out on the charts for the next 1 month. Kunal, coming on Westlife, while it did see a good spot towards the end of last year, December second half, it has largely been range bound since then. Right now at 454 rupees, still below the buying price of Ms. Rao. What would be your guidance to her, and how is it looking on the chart?
Yes, currently I'm more or less in a range. Last 1.5 odd month, 450 is more or less a pivot point for the stock. So the high, I think if I'm not wrong, is 490 approximately, and the low is 400. So plus or minus 40 rupees from those 450 levels is where the stock seems to have gone through in terms of a trading range. Difficult to say that whether the stock will provide breakout in the next 1 month or not. But the chart patterns are quite intriguing. They're very strong for the trends for Westlife, and I think if you can just expand your time horizon a bit more from say 1 month to say another 3 months or 4 months approximately, or slightly more than that, then I believe that the stock could probably stand a good chance of coming out of this consolidation and breaking out back on the upside. So I would suggest a hold, and would advise to increase your time horizon from looking at it from just the 1 month perspective to at least 3 months plus, if not more.
All right. Okay. Well, Rajesh, over to you for the same question. Westlife development, a very interesting space, definitely. QSRs, of course. Jubilant is already at a 52-week high. What's your view, Rajesh?
Other QSR players like Jubilant is doing a 52-week high with the kind of valuation they are getting. I think Westlife is highly undervalued. We have a longer term target of 500 plus on this. This company basically is running 304 McDonald's stores in 42 cities in the western and southern India, and the management has clearly indicated they're going to add around 25 to 30 new outlets in the coming days. They have demonstrated strong performance in the past so many years. The only problem was COVID period, but now 85 to 90% business come back to pre-COVID levels, and the QSR and the takeaway business is doing very well. I think one should extend its time horizon from 1 month to maybe 3 or 6 months.
Okay, I think we seem to have lost Rajesh's line, but you know what, on that note, Kunal as well as Rajesh, thank you so much for joining us today. Well, it's time for our ET Now Insight segment. Copper seems to be coming out of a 10-year cycle with the price being the highest since 2011. It's very similar to what happened from 94 to 2004. And what's even more interesting is the impact on emerging equities from 2004 to 2007. Jayesh Khilnani joins in with the analysis.
The price of copper seems to be coming out of a long 10-year consolidation phase or cycle. As we can see on the chart, from 1994 to 2004 was the first cycle that I'm referring to, after which we had a huge rally in the copper prices, and now once again 2011 to 2021 is the long consolidation phase that I'm referring to. Now I know the maximum drawdown during the 94 cycle was about 82 months, and it took about 28 months to recover the same losses. The 2011 fall that we had, that took about 59 months, and it has already been about 61 months that we have spent in the recovery, and very close to the near high point of 2011 as well. But what's interesting is what happened to copper the last time around. We had post the 10-year cycle that I'm referring to, which is the 2004 to 2007 period. Copper prices during that time surged about 160%, but it had a positive impact on the emerging market equity space because MSCI EM surged about 175%. What was even more interesting was the fact that the Nifty more than trebled for itself from 2004 to 2007. So once again, we are at a very crucial juncture as far as copper prices are concerned, and it could have a huge positive impact on emerging market equities.
Thanks, Jayesh, for that. Slipping into a break here. When we come back, we'll get you more market insights and updates. Stay tuned.
Well, here's an ET Now exclusive, a cover on the Lal Street that's causing the stock to go aflutter. We're talking about Vedanta. Now, the cover is that the promoter group seems to be back to pick up yet another stake of 5% in Vedanta Limited. But this stake purchase is likely to happen in the next fiscal, keeping in mind SEBI's regulations. What's more interesting is the price point. 210 rupees is what we understand from our sources. And like I said, next fiscal there is enough ammo. The group in fact is also now going to launch a $1 billion bond issue, so financially they're more or less okay on that front. They are roping into the market for this stake hike. Remember that first stake hike of 5% was done via creeping acquisition in December. Subsequently in January they launched a voluntary open offer to pick up a 10% stake at 160 rupees per share. Now, as per SEBI regulations, Mr. Anil Agarwal's group is allowed to pick up yet another 5% stake in this fiscal before March, but he'll have to do so via preferential issue. But what we understand is that he doesn't want to go for the preferential issue route. He'd rather go for the creeping acquisition route. And if he does that, then he'll have to wait for the next fiscal year to pick up another 5% stake. We still have to wait for whether SEBI is going to extend the relaxation of the creeping acquisition limits from this year to the next. There's been no announcement yet. We should perhaps hear of it in all probability before the fiscal year ends. But I guess we can assume that for now there's no extension in that limit, and hence Mr. Agarwal will be back on the streets to purchase his 5% stake, especially after that failed delisting attempt back in October. Well, moving on, Dr. Reddy's is in the process of gaining emergency approval for its COVID vaccine Sputnik 5. Pankaj Poddar joins us with more.
Right, so let's just talk about this. It's an important development, when you consider global vaccine is of course the big news that everybody is talking about. And let's just talk about what's the latest with Dr. Reddy's. So when we talk about Dr. Reddy's, they have applied for Sputnik 5. Remember, their partner was the Russian partner RIDF, who is developing Sputnik 5, and they were doing their Indian trials. So they have gone ahead and gone to the agency here in India to get an emergency nod for Sputnik 5. Now, what does this mean? Which means that they'll have to share the data as far as Sputnik is concerned. And when we talk about this data, phase 2 clinical trial is completed. Currently phase 3 is going on. They will give the safety data of phase 2 trials and interim data of phase 3, of course, with the agency. Interim data should be available pretty soon. Sputnik 5 has demonstrated good safety and efficacy. That's what Nomura is saying in. High probability of Dr. Reddy's gaining an emergency approval in March 21. Acceptance of Sputnik 5 is increasing across emerging markets. 31 countries have so far approved it. Remember, we have been speaking to on and off what's happening with what's happening as far as Sputnik global data is concerned. But this, of course, if it happens, will be the most important one for Dr. Reddy's so far.
Thanks, Pankaj, for that. The share of Dr. Reddy's, meanwhile, continues to languish down 2.5%. With that, we're timed out on this edition of Buy Now, Sell Now, so we're going to wrap it up. Thank you for tuning in.